Happy Monday, you little Wellish freak. In my neck of the woods, it's Christmas. I don't know about you, but when it gets to this time of the year, I'm done. Okay? I've checked out. I'm over it. I don't feel like doing things anymore. My brain has fully turned to mush. But if you're anything like how my brain used to operate, this is a time that because you automatically are kind of leaning into that more relaxed state of mind, you can easily start to beat yourself up and be hard on yourself if your brain already operates that way because you think like you should be grinding, you should be doing the work, I can't, why am I losing motivation? What's wrong with me? What's going on? When really it's almost like you're just kind of coming to the end of a season and you're allowed to relax and be peaceful and use this time to reflect on what we've learned this entire year. You know, you've worked hard this entire year, whether you have a lot to show for that or not. There are things that you just inadvertently learn from existing and moving through life. And so, if you can look back on your year and use this time as like a reflection period to see how much you've grown and what lessons you learned, it sets us up for so much more of a successful 2026 than allowing this time to like beat ourselves up and be like psychotic towards ourselves for not being hard workers and carrying the motivation through all the way to the very end. If we allow ourselves to reflect on what we've learned, we go into 2026 with a clearer head, with more direction, because we're like, okay, this is what I learned this year. This is how it affects me. This is how I can apply it to who I am and how I navigate my life. And what can I take with that and now transition into 2026 and start creating an even more developed version of me. Make sure to rate and review the show or like it if you're here on YouTube. It really does help get the show out to more like minded people like you and I that need to live a little bit more wellishly and need self improvement that's not just going to paint this perfection image. And also make sure to subscribe to the show so that you do not miss an episode. First and foremost, let's state the obvious because we do this funny thing that we get so hyper fixated on making sure that we get it all right and hyper fixating on what we've done wrong and what mistakes we've made and where things have gone awry when really nobody gets through life untouched, dog. Shitty things happen literally no matter what we do. Like, no matter how much you heal, no matter how much you try to gain control over how you live your life and the choices you make, it is out of your control. Like, shitty things will always happen no matter what, which is such a funny statement to say out loud, especially to a bunch of perfectionists, because, like, we know that we can't do everything perfect logically, right? Like, we logically understand that. But subconsciously, when we live our lives, no matter how much we're like, yeah, like I'm trying not to be a perfectionist about everything anymore, it's like we still apply that to how we navigate our life. And we make mistakes and we say the awkward thing and we get too emotional in this certain situation. And we're just rambling and saying like word vomiting and we beat ourselves up about not navigating something like how the dream self we picture in our heads would do it, but you can't get everything perfect. Like things will go wrong. You will get hurt. You won't always listen to your intuition. You will make a wrong choice. Maybe you stay in a situation longer than you should, but the focus should not be on what happened to us. It should be on how we respond because that's actually the only thing that we can control, which is beating a dead horse. I know we know that. I know we understand that we can only control ourselves and not everybody else out in the world, not how life plays out, all of the things. But I swear it's such an important reminder because we get into this mentality that things will be better if we can control people's perception of us, if we can control how other people think and feel. And we convince ourselves that, oh, well, I'm going to do that because all I can control is myself. So I'm going to behave in this way so they perceive me in this certain way. No, babe, you're still doing the same thing. All you know that you are responsible for are your own thoughts, feelings, and actions, and how other people navigate their life based on your thoughts, feelings, and actions is their problem. It's not your problem to worry about that. As long as you feel proud of who you are and how you navigate your life, even with the mistakes that you make. Yes, you're not going to be proud of the mistakes that you make, obviously, but you can be proud of yourself as a whole and how you respond to you making those mistakes. Like, you make the mistake, are you going to just be like, well, they made me do it? Or this shitty thing happened and like, whatever, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm not even going to look at it. Or are you going to be the kind of a person that's like, okay, I made this mistake. This is why I did it. I could only, like, again, having self compassion, I only was able to operate from that perspective at that point of view because that's knowledge I have. And now I have this newfound knowledge that will allow me to navigate future situations in a different manner. Bada bing, bada boom, move on. Move on. Do you know how cool it is that shitty things happen? Like, I don't know if you fully grasp the power that comes behind bad things happening to us. Like, nobody wants the bad thing, okay? I'm not a serial killer. Like, that's not it hurts. It sucks. I'm in pain. This is horrible. I don't want to experience this, okay? Like, the raw, real, upsetting, uncomfortable, bad emotions come up no matter who you are. I don't give a shit who, like, how self-improved you are. Though when bad things happen, those feelings come up. But if you then respond to those bad things happening, those feelings that are happening with a victim mentality, with a this always happens to me, why would this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? Well, I guess this is just how my life plays out. This is just kind of the stuff that happens to me. Roll over and die, sort of a mentality, compared to what can I take from this? What role did I play that caused me to be in this situation that this happened? What can I do moving forward? What can I take from this situation and use to my advantage? Like, nothing has to be worth it. It has to be useful. Who did this force me to become? Like, who is this person that I get to become because this shitty thing happened? I think there's this misconception that happens when people in the self-improvement industry talk about growth from hardship, in that there isn't pain. Like, if you heal enough, you could just say, like, what did this teach me? Like, who do I get to be now that this happened to me? And like, as if you are almost invalidating all of the pain and emotion that comes with that. And I really want to stress that you still will potentially shatter. Like, you still will have these hard emotions. Healing is not linear. You'll have days that are good, days that are bad. You'll have days you revert back to old mentalities and old, ways that you used to navigate your life, and old feelings that you thought that you overcame. Like, that, all of that stuff, all is real, and you will experience it, and it's not fun to experience it. But the idea is that if you can keep coming back to the advantage mentality compared to the victim mentality, that is what's going to set you up for a genuine transformation, a genuine glow up, as the kids say, when the hardships happen. Every single hard experience that happens gives you information. It gives you information about yourself. It gives you information about what you want in life, the kind of people you'll associate with, what wounds are inside of you, what things you need to heal so that you don't put yourself in situations like that in the future. It gives you contrast. You get to really genuinely see what you won't tolerate in your life, what boundaries you have and need to set with other people and with yourself. It gives you self-trust, or the opportunity to grow your self-trust when it's so brutally ripped away from you, that you get to say, okay, I have this opportunity to handle this in a way that gets me through this. But here's the thing, guys. Like, I get that when we get into shitty situations, that our self-trust is so brutally ripped away from us. That is, like, really painful and one of the hardest things to heal and overcome. But when these things happen, no matter what, you do get yourself through it. And I think that you have at least that. At the very bare minimum, you have at least that even if you are crying and you're miserable and you're unhappy, but you are allowing yourself to experience your emotions and take it easy because you're just laying in bed eating ho-hos all day, watching Stranger Things, like you are still trusting yourself to heal, to take care of you, to get you through that situation. And honestly, you can't even use that as an example. You specifically can't even use laying in bed, crying, not doing anything because you're sitting here listening to a self improvement video. And I guarantee you, this is probably not the only thing that you have done or listened to try to heal yourself. That in itself, even if you take no action yet, you even just speculating about wanting to be better, like, you're doing it. Like, you are doing the things, and you should trust yourself that you will do the things that will get you to feel better, that will get you into a better situation. And this genuinely is one of my favorites. When I experienced my most recent and most devastating hardship, I can't even tell you how much that raised my standards. And it's crazy because you think that when you take a huge blow, that it would lower them, like that you would be sad and think you're worth less and that you deserve less and you deserve this like shitty stuff that happened to you. But do you hear that victim mentality? When you just default mode go into the how can I use this to my advantage mentality, your standards will skyrocket. You say, I will never put myself in a situation with another person like that ever again. I will never not listen to my intuition ever again. I know that I am worth more than what that person caused. I know that I am worth more than this shitty situation that I am in right now, and I will do whatever it takes in order to get myself in a situation that feels good and that I enjoy because I trust myself to get to the place that I actually want to be. I know I will not let me down. And then you never again settle for anything less than you deserve, but you have to extract the lesson intentionally. It's not just gonna like happen. Sometimes it does, okay? Sometimes when the really bad thing happens, you have this like epiphany moment and you feel better. That is a very real thing that happens. But most of the time, and for most people, we have to extract the lesson intentionally. We have to sift through all of the pain and all of the hurt and all of the fucked up thoughts and feelings that are happening inside of us when a hardship occurs and say, what can I take from it? What can I take from it? Whatever you got to do to make that happen, asking for a sign and being open to signs in your life, journaling all of your thoughts, brain dumping them all onto pages of paper. I always recommend 3 because it gets you more than what is just like on the surface. You start writing things that you don't anticipate, and that's where like the real gold of like digging out what your subconscious thoughts and feelings are come from. Whatever you got to do, intentionally trying to extract the lesson from the hardship that happened is what's really going to set you apart from other people. And if you don't believe me, I mean, look at the examples. Like, if you've ever been taken advantage of, and you have experienced pain from that, what did you learn? You learned discernment. You learned the signs of a person taking advantage of you. You learned what things you will set boundaries about, what things you will not tolerate in the future. Maybe you overgive or you overfunction. You learn containment. You learn self boundaries. You learn what your capacity is and what you will bring to a relationship and where it crosses the line of giving more than you should, of taking on more responsibility for other people's thoughts and feelings than you really should. If you fail publicly, you learn resilience and you learn self definition. You learn how you view yourself and how you view yourself as the only thing that matters, that you know the truth about you and that you can get back up and you can get back out there and return your baseline back to normal. When you choose wrong, you choose the wrong friends, you choose the wrong significant other, you learn how to choose yourself. You learn how that stuff that happened, like instead of being like, yeah, I could have made this choice different, I could have made this choice different, I should have seen this thing that happened. You just choose to follow your own gut, your own intuition, and know that you'll get yourself through whatever situation you get yourself in. What you build from the pain that you experience, that pain will be there. What you build from it is what causes a glow up. That's what causes the upgrade in your life. That's what causes the transformation from the person that would allow more shitty things than not to be in your life to being this version of you that you really want to be, this strong, resilient, grounded, confident version of yourself to exist. And without those lessons, this confident, strong person wouldn't have the opportunity to develop. See how, like, you almost have to be grateful for the bad experiences? Like, it's not good that it happened, but it's like you almost can't help but be so grateful that these things happen. It's crazy. Like, if you really think about it, your dream self isn't someone that's never gotten hurt or that always chose right or always got everything perfect. And I think that, like, it's okay, it might sound like really, dare I say, toxic. Like, it might sound like weird, okay? But, like, when I think about my dream self, but, like, when I was younger, I mean, like, okay, like, I had a boyfriend that cheated on me all of the time. I would not take that experience back. Like, now I get to say that, like, I did that, like, I was in that toxic relationship. I had that, like, tumultuous cheating experience. Like, I don't know, like, to be able to, like, to go into a relationship now, like, to be talking to somebody now and be having to be like, "Yeah, everything's just been pretty vanilla." Like, I it's just, like, that's not who I wanna be, you know? Like, I was just watching a video the other day of, like, guys talking about their exes versus girls talking about theirs, and, like, guys being like, "Oh, yeah, like, she, like, wanted me to buy her Christmas gifts and, like, wanted me to, like, say happy birthday," and, like, then the girl being like, "Oh, yeah, my ex was so crazy too. Like, when I stopped responding to him, he stalked me at my job and came to my house, broke in, and destroyed all of my clothes." Like, like, that they're just like, so you girls experience like so much more like intense, like psychotic behavior, I feel like. I mean, I'm not that's not universal, that's not across the board, that's not all or nothing. But like I just think that like it's it oh god, dare I say it? Like I this is not right, okay? But like it adds lore. And I like lore. Like I want that to be a part of my dream self. Like I want to be able to have like more experiences in life than not. Like I and any person that I've ever met that doesn't have a lot of experiences and has just really had life handed to them and has just like kind of gone through the motions, like doing what society expects of us. Nothing wrong with that lifestyle whatsoever, but just that even while you're doing that, you everything just works out for those kinds of people. Even, obviously, again, even those people, things go wrong in their life, but like for the most part, everything works out. You know what I mean? That's not my dream self. And maybe it is yours. Maybe that is somebody's. And like more power to you, then you probably are living a life more in alignment with that. But because it's not my dream self, I mean, I have to experience things in order to level up and become this like really deep version of myself that I want to be. And then you get to be this person that like learns fast and is super resilient and is super strong and doesn't repeat the same lessons twice and is decisive and knows what she wants and sets her boundaries and is just someone that like moves through life with confidence. I want to talk about one of my favorite things to talk about when it comes to this kind of thing because I think it's really relevant and I think it is not talked about enough. And I think it's something that not everybody will have the capacity for. So strap in if you are my Wellish bestie with a deep capacity. This will resonate with you. And if it doesn't, you still have more healing to do and you will get there. So it all comes down to taking accountability. Now, that is not something that I mean on a surface level. We talk about taking accountability all the time, like being able to say, I screwed this up and I made this mistake and now I'm going to move forward from it. Okay, that's bare minimum accountability. Okay. I'm not talking about accountability in relation to other people or other situations. I'm talking about a deep rooted inner accountability. I'm talking about being able to ask yourself what role you played to cause yourself to be in that situation. I'm talking about being able to face your fears, face your insecurities, look your raw, true, messed up self in the face, confront that person and define it and then be able to heal from it. Because until you do that, you will never become the person that you want to become. You will continue to band aid that wound. You will continue to cover up what you don't want to admit to be true. There are so many ways that this shows up in our lives. So, just a variety of examples. I mean, I could use my own life as an example, and knowing that I was in certain situations because of the certain wounds that are in me, and that's how I navigated my entire existence until my last final blow, and I was able to take accountability, look myself in the face and say, "Why the hell were you in that situation?" And having that answer and then working on relentlessly healing that answer. But I think one of my favorite ways to illustrate this is with codependence, because there are so many layers to codependence. And most of the time, codependents don't see that they are codependent. They think that they are being romantic and that they are in love and that things are good. And the reason I like to use this example as an illustration is because it's happening with happy emotions compared to it happening with sad, depressing emotions. Like when we're talking about our wounds, it's more upsetting feelings that come up. And so we recognize them as wrong. But when the feelings coming up are more happy, you don't recognize that there's a problem there. So, my example to you in taking accountability, if you like, again, just using codependence as an example, you're a codependent person, and that likely means that you need external validation in order to prove to yourself that you have worth. It means that you need another person in your life to make you feel like you matter and like you deserve love. There is a deeper wound that's happening in there, like that you only deserve love if you act in certain ways and do certain things. Maybe you have an emotional neglect wound, and so having that intense on top of each other relationship reverses and band-aids that emotional neglect. Maybe you have a parentification wound that you had to grow up early and you were the caretaker, and so now you attract people that you feel like you have to fix. It could be an abandonment or an inconsistency wound. You have to be like hyper vigilant, otherwise this person is going to leave you. Maybe you have wounds with boundaries, like people didn't respect your boundaries, so now you have a hard time saying no, so you just allow whatever is playing out to play out. And if somebody's like fully infiltrating themselves or intertwining themselves into your life, and you think, okay, well, this person obviously just likes me, so I'll just let this happen. Maybe you have like an attachment to chaos wound that you don't know what stable, genuine love really is. Love only feels safe when it's like chaotic and love bomby and all the things. So you attract these like unstable, emotionally unavailable relationships. But what you're experiencing in the codependent relationship is whatever excuse you are giving yourself based on whatever wound you are experiencing. Like, that you feel needed, and so you want them to be around, like parentification wound, for example. Like that you think whatever it is that the wound causes you to think, and you just go with that. You only have the capacity to stop there, and you think that that's the root of the issue, instead of being like, but why do I think that? What is causing me to have that thought? And when you can't take accountability for what the deeper wound is, you continue to repeat that same pattern. You don't see that what you are doing is unhealthy. You don't see where you could be doing right by yourself. It's so important too that this is done with self-compassion. Like accountability is not self-blame. That still even dips you into the victim mentality. It's not saying like, oh, you have this wound and like you do all these things wrong and you suck and whatever. Like it's like, okay, hi. This is the problem that I seem to have. Like these are the feelings I have. This is the wound that I think I identify with. And now I need to figure out how to heal that wound, because I did play a role in this. I play a role in my life and how I navigate my friendships and my relationships and how I show up in the world. And I have the opportunity to take on a different role if I choose to. And when things aren't going right in your life, when you feel like nothing is working and it's always shitty things that are happening, it's important to take a step back and recognize what role you are playing. You are the common denominator. What role are you playing in the things that are happening? Let me give you a 3-step process to intentionally extract lessons from what you've experienced this year, 2025, but also really just in your life. The first thing is identifying it. Like the first thing is naming it without dramatizing it or minimizing it. That you have to say, this is the thing that happened, and being able to name it from a space of acceptance. Like, this is the thing that happened. It happened. I have to accept that this is what's happened. I cannot continue to ignore it. I cannot continue to justify it. I cannot continue to dramatize it. I cannot continue to minimize it. I cannot continue to look at it in any other light than simply the fact of what it is. And what it is this. And then you have to own it. You have to take accountability. Where did I abandon myself? Where did I repeat a pattern? Where did I ignore the signals? And lastly, you have to choose to upgrade from it. What standards do you now have? What boundaries will you now be putting in place with other people and with yourself? What behavior changes because of this? If nothing changes, the lesson wasn't learned. And logically, we can convince ourselves that the lesson was learned and things have changed. But then our life plays out in the same way. We see that with our own eyeballs if we choose to take a step back and look at our life. And you have to allow yourself to take a step back and look at your life and recognize the patterns that are taking place. If there is no change that happens, the lesson was not genuinely learned. I say this with all of the love and confidence in my heart. I repeated the same pattern for 26 years. For 26 years, I repeated the same pattern until I took a blow hard enough that made me say, no, I cannot continue this same pattern, which is crazy because 5 years prior to that, I thought I said, no, I'm not repeating that same pattern. And I did. I repeated the same exact pattern. You do it subconsciously. You logically might think that you are making a change, but unless something changes, you have not made the genuine shift. The lesson wasn't truly learned. We're shifting our mindset from this happened to me to this trained me. Because let me make it so clear that growth isn't loud. Like, we think that growth is going to be like, whoa, I feel this way now and I'm having this great experience and it's just so wonderful, because that's what people talk about it, because there's literally no other way to verbally express it. But that's it. It's not loud. Growth is not loud. It is not loud. I don't know how many times, like how clearly I can make this known to you. It is not loud. It is not something that you are aware of, like you are aware of the racing thoughts in your head. Your intuition and your growth are so quiet and just a subtle knowing inside of yourself. It's a It's just simply a decision. It's simply you being decisive about how you, it's simply a decision. It's simply you being decisive about how you show up in your life and who you choose to be. You don't need to have some perfect story that you never got anything wrong and you handled every situation like this confident queen, this unbothered queen. That is not realistic, and you have to stop putting the pressure on yourself to do absolutely everything right. You don't need to be healed in order to move forward. You don't need to get to this certain point that you can say, okay, now I can move forward with my life. Like, you always are going to be healing and learning and growing. You have to get out and experience life in order to heal and learn and grow and experience new triggers and notice those triggers and notice that there are areas that you can heal further and pay attention to them and be brave enough to face them so that you can continue to heal. If you hole up and you don't do anything with the new things that you're learning, you're only going to make it to a certain healing point. You're going to hit a ceiling. But if you continue to experience life and learn and grow, you're going to continue to heal and grow more than you could have ever imagined. You need to use what life hands you. Nothing that life has handed you has ever been wasted unless you choose to waste it. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure to tune in next Monday for another episode. I am going to start incorporating some of our fun things come 2026. So we're coming close to an end here. But before we even worry about any of that, we're just going to soak up every last minute of December that we absolutely can, every last minute of 2025 that we can, all the lessons, all the reflection, all the peace, all the good things. I love you endlessly, my Wellish family, and I will talk to you very soon. And I hope you have a great holiday. Bye, guys.